Alright, today's lesson is on congruent figures. We've talked about congruent angles, congruent sides, just things that are equal. Now we're talking about a shape as a whole, a triangle being congruent to another triangle, a pentagon to a pentagon, etc. And all congruent figures are is just two figures that have the exact same size and the exact same shape. So that's what we're trying to look for as we're doing this, is two things that are the same size, same shape. They are congruent. Now we can say even further, besides how they look, really we know if they have corresponding angles being congruent and sides being congruent, then we can say that the figures themselves are congruent. You need the entire piece for that to happen. All three sides and all three angles for a triangle. So if we look here at this one, we have triangle ABC and triangle DEF in this picture. Now, based on the angle markings, we do have three congruent sides and three congruent angles. We have listed here, angle A to angle B, B to E, C to F. We can see that from our angle markings here. For example, E and B have two of those marks. Now, we also can say from our side lengths the same thing, AB to DE, AC to DF, BC to EF. Now, when we write what's important, this is called up here, it's called a congruence statement. This is the most important part of finding congruent figures. We need to make sure we write our figures in the right order. So, for example, ABC. This is a triangle. We could have named it anything. We could have named it BCA. We could have named it CAB. We just named it ABC because that makes sense to us to go alphabetically. Now, to name the second triangle, we need order to matter big time. The first letter in the first triangle was A. Well, we know A is congruent to angle D. That's why the first letter in the second triangle needs to be a D. Likewise, we know B and E are the same, so because B is second, E has to be second. And that's what leaves F and C to be last, because they're the ones that must be congruent. If we were to, for example, as well, if I was given a triangle pair, so let's say triangle ABC is congruent to triangle XYZ, and I knew angle A was equal to 50 degrees, I know angle X is equal to 2X, we'll call it, and I want to solve for this letter X here. Well, I know angle A and angle X are in the same spot in that congruence statement. That means they must be equal to each other. Angle X and angle A must be the same. So I can just set up 50 equals 2X, which means 25 would be my answer for X. And that's the beginning of congruence. Just need to know you must have all three sides for triangles and all three angles in order to say that two triangles are congruent.